Majora's Mask 3D was finally released a couple months ago, and after going through all the game and completing it 100%, I feel as if this is the perfect time to give my impressions on it, seeing that it's personally one of my closest games to my heart, as well as being my favorite 3D Zelda game ever created. I know that's been said a lot by many fans of the franchise, but in all seriousness, it is a true statement. It was a very different Zelda in terms of design and story, and this different path led to the overall feel of the atmosphere to be very unique in the Zelda franchise. You're not saving the princess and defeating Ganondorf for the power of the Triforce. You're just a nobody trying to heal the souls of the people around you, constantly going back in time to see them eventually becoming undone. Melodrama aside, this unique time mechanic and feel made this game very unique, and over the years the sheer brilliance of this game was seen, so much so that Nintendo and Grezzo decided to remake the game for the 3DS and give it the same treatment as they did with Ocarina of Time. The question is, however, should you give away your 40 bones for a portable version of one of the greatest games of all time? Well, coming from me, who's played the original too many times to count, then yeah. Obviously, the one thing that changed is the graphics. Like the Ocarina of Time remake, the textures and character animations have vastly improved to give a story a lot more character and charm. The world is more vastly detailed, and the game runs consistently with no slowdown throughout the entire experience. Mechanics really haven't changed from Ocarina of Time 3DS's treatment, with button configurations feeling the same for targeting and shooting with the gyroscopic controls. The touchscreen mechanics also returned and are as intuitive as ever. Mask switching is a lot easier and error-free from the original, making quick mask switching a breeze. There are a lot of small touches like this throughout the interface, and if you haven't played the Ocarina of Time 3D remake, you'll see a lot of touches to the controls to make the game a lot easier to play than the original, and new players will appreciate the ease of Link moving around. The transformation masks also have gotten changes for better or worse though, as a Deku scrub now aiming in the first person is easier with the gyroscopic controls, but the running start from before has changed to a very slow startup this time around, making jumping on those lily pads a little bit more tedious. Goron and Zora transformations are hit and miss as well. For anyone who's played the original game, instead of holding to roll, you only have to tap once to go back and forth. This was easy to get used to though, but compared to the Zora, that was child's play. Moving in the water as a Zora is much slower and tedious. Although the counter-argument to this is that it makes the game more challenging, it could be just as aggravating. To go fast this time around, you have to use your magic meter, no matter what. The bosses are also hit and miss. This time around you have giant eyeballs as obvious targets. This was a big curveball and made me think outside the box to fight them. Adolwa and Goat fought the same as before, but the Georg and Twin Mold fights were changed a great deal. Georg is much more irritating thanks to the new Zora controls, though Twin Mold made up for that. It's just a more cinematic appeal to the whole fight. The original was such an afterthought, but this really made up for it. Overall though, these changes never really hindered my experience with the overall game. Mostly everything is in the same places, like the heart pieces and objectives to gain all the masks in the game. The Bomber's Notebook also gets an upgrade, allowing for alarm support and making the whole UI less tedious than before. Not to mention, the Song of Double Time gets an upgrade where you can pretty much go in any hour of the day instead of the end of a day or the morning thereafter. This makes side quests much more manageable than before. But note, some locations did change due to convenience of progression, like how the Stone Mask is in the Pirate's Lair instead of in Kana Canyon, or how the Bean Dude is on either side of the Deku Palace, as well as the Song of Soaring, immediately obtainable in the beginning of the swamp area. Those are some examples, but one thing I couldn't get behind is saving, which wasn't changed at all. That's one of the main reasons the N64 version required a RAM expansion pack. I think the reason this wasn't changed was to keep the design relatively the same as the original. I didn't mind it at first, but I feel as if new players wouldn't jump to the idea, especially coming from Ocarina of Time where you can literally save anywhere. So I can't really have an opinion on this one because, well, I just gotten so used to saving in Majora's Mask that it's just second nature. It felt like such an afterthought, much like all the nitpicks I can make out of this 15-year-old game. Ocarina of Time was the first Zelda I've ever played and completed, and when Majora's Mask came out, I was so hyped to pick it up and play. And after that, it ended up being one of my favorite games of all time, with the little faults that it had. And this remake made me fall in love with it after so many years. It was just such a great feeling to see how much they put into this game to make it feel refreshing again. rather than just being a simple remaster, and portable. All the complaints I have are just minor nitpicks out of a stellar package, and new players will be able to appreciate a very unique Zelda experience. With no Zelda, Majora's Mask 3D gets a buy it. Thanks for watching my review on Majora's Mask, and if you want, you can like and subscribe to my channel. If you want more reviews, check out some of the videos on the right.